Hello and welcome, everybody. It is Coach Action Jackson, and we're here with another amazing client success story. Now, I have Chad here. He is one of my best clients. Incredible story. This guy was a cardio king. I'm telling you, he was amazing at doing cardio. Wasn't quite as versed in the strength training, but wanted to get the six-pack abs. He ended up losing about 25, maybe 26 pounds, but here's the kicker: cut his body fat in half and now has a phenomenal six-pack. So he is absolutely gone from cardio king to strength king and everything in between. Chad, welcome to the program. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Wow. Thank you, Action Jackson, for that intro. That was that got me excited and ready to get going, jumping into your program all over again with an introduction like that.
Well, you did such an amazing job the first time. I don't think you need to do it again. I don't think you have a whole lot of fat left to lose.
Well, I have this feeling that it's going to be a program that's going to stick with us for life. You taught some amazing lessons, and even as I change what my training is, I know I can always come back to the foundation that you've held built. So if I notice some changes because I need to go cardio again, I have that. So it's a program for life. So yeah, I know I'm coming back.
I appreciate you saying that. We really do try to focus on whether it's like first principles or foundational principles that people can leverage and use, to your point, for life, but also can be used whether you want to lose the last 5-10 pounds or take your body fat from 14 and a half to 7 like you did, or if you're trying to lose 100 plus pounds like I've had a few clients do. But take me back in time. So where were you at in kind of before we started? Obviously, you worked out a ton. You did a ton of cardio. You had done triathlons, Ironmans. You had done Spartan.
I'm a Spartan guy. I'm an obstacle course guy. I stay out of the swimming. I'm not a swimming guy, so I ignore those. I don't do those triathlons. I'm a Spartan guy. I love my Peloton. I'm on the bike like crazy. I'm a runner. I'll do half marathons. My fitness journey, I'll take you way back. Back. Where I was 245 pounds. I was in a depressive state. I was in a bad place in my life, Jackson. And I was 245 pounds. Long story short, I was challenged by a few friends when I shot my mouth off one day to go run a marathon. I lost 60 pounds. I came down to 180. Ran 2 marathons, ended up going back up to about 220 due to some emotional things that ended up happening and then not knowing what I was really doing and life kicking me again. Got up to about 220, met my now wife who went through the program side by side with me and just inspired me through the whole program like crazy. She had motivated me to get down from 220. I got back down to about 180, 170. Didn't know how to stay there. Got back up into about that 190. We ended up becoming Orange Theory people. So Orange Theory workouts, it's cardio. Look, they tell you it's not, it's cardio. Okay. And we got into Orange Theory and I probably got my weight down into those 180s and kind of started to settle there due to that. We went to a gym that was CrossFit-like. So we started adding in some of that weight training. Didn't see the progress the same way because it wasn't, I don't think, as purposeful. I think those CrossFit classes, they're got to be so general to everybody. And then what ended up happening is we moved across the country and we live somewhere that's 45 minutes each way to get to the nearest gym for us. So we became cardio buffs even more so than before. We got the Peloton in the house. We live somewhere beautiful, so it's great to just go run outside. And I was running 3 or 4 days a week, 10 miles each time, and Pelotoning on the days in between, and just figured cardio should be enough, as so many people do, to lose that weight. And then we decided we needed something extra, and we found Tonal. And Tonal is how we got introduced to you, one of the coaches who really has a personality on there, who really made it fun. I had you actually as a guest on one of my podcasts. And you just challenged me right then as soon as we went off air with, well, what are you waiting for? And I was like, hey, come on, I'm a runner. This is what I do. I'm in great shape. Everybody looks. And I said, you know what? I came home and I sat down with my wife and I said to her, I said, Nita, what do you think? And she said, if you're going to do it, I'll do it with you. Let's go. We know how important strength training is as you get older. I hit 50. So we know that adding that stuff is so much more important to what we need to do. And we jumped in both feet. And Jackson, I got to tell you, the first few weeks, I thought you were a little nuts. By the time this thing is done, I still walk by a mirror and go, who is that guy?
That is an incredible, incredible story. Highs and lows, ups and downs the whole way. But man, you are in such a great shape and like such a great place in your life now at 50 plus, showing that age is just not a factor. As like my friend Tony Horton likes to say, age is just a number, and it's for people not willing to put in the work to slow it down.
Yes, right.
But what an incredible journey. So that's obviously some highlights, some lowlights, but what are some of the specific obstacles that you faced during, I guess, my program specifically? I mean, you came in, you were at 185, so 14.5% body fat. So you're in a good position, but you're trying to go from good to great, extraordinary.
I'm trying to get abs. And forget all the fancy talk. I wanted to see, could I actually get abs? Because that's the dream, right? Anybody who says they're healthy, we always have the dream, whether we're willing to admit it or not. Can I get those washboard abs? Can I get, and I've always said, look, I can build up bigger muscles. I can run farther. I'd never seen an ab in my life. Like I'd never seen anything. And one day I think I said, hey, I think my wife just told me it was the shadow that I was seeing off something on me. We jumped in and said, can we do it? Challenge. There were
why did you want to do it? Why did you want to get the abs before we talk about the challenges? Why is it so important?
Because to me, one, abs signify so much. When it comes to health, abs are the image, right? It doesn't matter. I mean, even runners, it doesn't matter. When someone takes the shirt off and you see abs, you just say, that guy's in shape, right? So one, it's the stigma that comes of what abs is. Two, because of my yo-yoing weight that I went through from that 245 down, up, and believe me, we both know it's not my story. It's everybody's story. We all do it with weight. I've always had that excess amount of skin. So even when because you can't work out your skin, right? So even when I would work out and start getting skinnier, it didn't matter. I always had this gut that kind of just hung there like loose, and it was disgusting to a point that Nita and I had talked about me going and just getting it cut off. And that's when you said, give me a shot. You can do this. Watch what you can do. And all right, so let's go get abs and see if we can make this tight. Now there's still a little bit of skin. So I'm not necessarily walking around on the beach and saying, check this out, but I wouldn't be embarrassed to walk around on the beach and saying, this is how I look now.
Okay. So what were some of those obstacles and challenges then?
The first one was the fact that we started at the beginning of October. So Halloween, my 10-year wedding anniversary, my 50th birthday, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, all fell over our phases of the program. You couldn't ask for a time of year to eat more than all of those celebrations or drink more. And here we were jumping into a program that said, we're getting a handle on what you guys are eating and we're going to control that. So, I mean, that was the first challenge right there, was the holiday season was upon us.
How did you manage that?
Well, actually, we managed it.
Obviously you did such a great job, but what caused you? Because so many people that would be derailed, fail, like game over.
The hardest part of it would have been phase one, because you have us go through that whole insulin reset where carbs are basically gone and alcohol definitely gone and sugar is gone. So, I mean, here we were coming up to Halloween with all of that. After that, I think the thing that got us through it, and you had said to us as we were learning our macros, once we got into phase two and we were allowed to reintroduce some of those things in there, we had bought and we had leftover Halloween candy from the kids. Okay. So at the end of a day, we had that mini Snickers bar that we had worked into our numbers, or that, the mini York peppermint patty or something, just so we had that little sweet. And it became something that was able, not a problem. I mean, every night we'd had a small piece of chocolate. It was that satisfaction of having that. And it was enough that we were able to control the cravings that came along with all of that. And then we just worked our cheat meals that come into the program around Thanksgiving and Christmas Day, so we could have the big meal learning how to eat.
Took a little discipline up first, called that activation energy. But good thing is that people are usually the most motivated in the beginning of the program. It's why it's structured that way. Yep. And as you see some results and you build momentum, it's like, okay, here now you get the cheat meal. Now you can start working these things in, and you're able to sort of ride that momentum through the program. Okay. So anything else, any other obstacles that you faced that were like real struggle points?
Real struggle points? No, we had like 1 or 2 days where I had to travel for work. Sure. You know, again, it's the freedom though of the program and your team that you have, even when you are unavailable. You got your whole team in your Facebook group there that we're saying, well, look, you can reschedule it like this and move your day off that week to here and do this. So, I mean, nothing that was really too challenging for us. I got to say, one of the advantages, we did it together. Now, my wife's not here on video with me. She wasn't available and didn't want to stand here beside me and do it with us. Yet at the same time, there were so many times where I did it for her. Sure. And she was it was I don't want to get up and I don't work out this morning. Okay, I have to go do it though, because if I don't, Nita's going to have that same excuse. So I got to go get it done, until it became the routine and the habit, which for us didn't take too long, because we're workout people. We just had to shift that workout mindset to your program instead of what we thought we were doing right on our own.
Got it. So for physical changes, cut your weight down 25 pounds or so, cut the body fat in half down to 7. Like that's just mind boggling. 7%. I mean, I think that's lower than my body fat right now. So you're doing better than me. That's just mind boggling. So physical changes, like, what does it feel like? How does it feel now to be down 25 pounds and at 7% body fat?
I don't even know how to describe it. For so long, I was in the 180s, that even when I got up to 220, 245, sadly, back into the 200s, 180 was always a number that my body seemed to be comfortable in, that mid 180s. And I'm a big American Ninja Warrior fan. I auditioned for the show years back, things like that. And I watch it and they'll say, well, this guy's 5'9" and he's 152 pounds. And I'm like, well, I'm 5'10". How's he 5'9", 150? Now I'm sitting at like 160. I'm like, every day I still get on the scale. People say don't get on the scale every day, right? You shouldn't do it. You should. Oh, I can't wait to get on the scale every day. It excites me to see that number being where it is. And heck, last night, my wife and I had a cheat meal. So this morning I got on the scale. Okay, it was up a pound. Okay, at least I'm aware and I know what's going on. And now I know how to eat today and eat tomorrow to put myself back to where I was. I have so much energy. I have so much more. I went and ran for the first time. Finally, program was over. I was freed to run. I ran my fastest 5K that I've run in probably 3 years. Went out there and I felt great running again. Looking forward to building that up.
Well, you're lighter and stronger
how
now.
I feel. It's fantastic.
You're lighter and stronger now.
Yes. I took off a 20-pound weight vest, right? Or a 25-pound weight vest. I basically took off the weight vest that I would wear sometimes when I would train. I just took another one of those off when I go for my run. Felt fantastic to get the body moving and to feel that I now understand how to do this stuff for myself. Because along the way through your program, Jackson, it's not just, okay, go do this. It's here's why you're doing this. Here's how you're going to do this. Here's how you're going to adjust if you need to adjust. Here's what we do. So now there's the knowledge that comes along with it.
Absolutely. I always hated trainers and coaches that kept their clients in the dark and didn't want to explain anything to them because they want to just keep getting checks or whatever it is. I always wanted to just give people everything that they need, because my goal is cliche and stupid as it sounds. It's true. I want to help as many people as I possibly can. Change the world 1 6-pack at a time is what I kind of like to say jokingly, but I'm being 100% serious.
Sure. And another challenge that now that you're even saying that's coming to me was we want to run. Right. And Nita and I want to run. And we figure, well, okay, yeah. You're going to help me get abs, but I'm still going to run. Right. And we had that call with you right near the beginning where we were like, okay, look, like you say we can get on the Peloton for like 15 minutes, but I want to go run 5 miles. Right. And it was the whole conversation of, look, you can do it your way or you can do it my way. And you can trust the system. which works, and I'll teach you what you need to do and why you're doing certain things. Or you could just keep fighting the system and pretend to half-ass the system as you go through it. And we made the commitment there and then, right on the phone. We looked at each other. We were in the car and we said to you, nope, we are going to follow your system. So we put the running shoes away, had to put away that challenge, but it was follow the program, because the program knows how to get you where you're going. And I was amazed. We weren't just doing the same thing, right? It wasn't that you just sit down and say, here's the program and hand it out to anybody. And it's, no, Nita's doing different things than I'm doing. Nita's numbers are different than I'm doing. Her exercises were different. It wasn't that we were, okay, I did 12 bicep curls and then I did this. And she was like, I didn't have any bicep curls today on my workout program. You know, it's that you're clearly diving into who your clients are and helping them achieve their goals based on where they are, not just some standard formula that says, here's the answer and I'm just selling it as some magic pill.
We definitely taken like 100+ data points about people to make sure we do the customization, and we really make sure that it's specific to each person and obviously their goals. But more importantly, I think a lot of people think that they can just do the same thing that they've been doing and then achieve a different result, right? That's the definition of insanity. But we see people in gyms been doing this for 30 years. They go and lift the same weight, the same exercises, and somehow they think they're going to get better or different results. So we take the running out for a period of time to achieve a specific result. Then once we get the result, it's like, okay, now we can work it back in, and here's how we can do that. Because now that you got the abs, you got the body fat down, now it's like, okay, incorporate these key things to keep it there, and then throw these other things in to sort of enjoy your exercise and make sure you're living sort of a more balanced life at this point. It's like people want balance forever, but in order to get to balance, sometimes you have to be unbalanced for a period of time, right? Like I know you do a lot of real estate stuff. If you want to get and build a big real estate business, you have to maybe put in 12 and 14 and 16-hour days for a period of time before you could then switch to 8-hour days and making a living at it, right?
Yeah, there's no such thing as balance. It's counterbalance.
Yeah.
Right. There's a great book. There's a great book, The One Thing. I used to get to be the pleasure to train that book around the country in workshops. And
really, you've done that?
Oh yeah, I was the trainer of the year and trained that one across the country for.
I love that book.
Quite a while. Yeah, Jay Papazan and Gary Kellers. And they talk about it very well in there. There is no balance. You're never going to be balanced. There's always going to be counterbalance, which just ends up bringing you back to that center line. Yet you have to go to both sides of it. You'll never be able to live here. It's not possible.
That's literally exactly what I was thinking of when I was saying it. It was that book. Wow, fantastic. So what are, we talk a lot about mental stuff. So what are some of the mental shifts that happen along the way? We know the physical, you've got more energy, like all those great things. You're running faster, you're stronger. What are some of the mental things, if any, that you kind of experience along the way?
Yeah, I'd say I got some clarity, right? And to me, I don't know how to explain it. I almost found myself in a Zen state during the workout. So it gave me, I'm not a yoga guy. I mean, of course, now I'm going to get some yoga instructor who's going to come on there and say, do my program, right? Okay, whatever. I'm not a yoga guy. I'm not a meditation guy. That's not my thing. The workout is my thing. So I got some mental clarity and focus that would come to me when I didn't have to think about it, especially on week 2, 3, and 4, because you have us in 4-week phases. So week 1 of the phase, maybe it was like, okay, I don't know what's coming next. And because I was using tonal, it's like, do I need to put on the bar or the arms? Whereas someone else might be grabbing certain weights. Once you got to week 2, you knew what was coming in the workout for the next few weeks. I was able to tune out, listen to my music, just let my brain go clear. So I got some mental clarity through the whole thing. For my wife, one of the things she got the routine and the habit that comes from it. So while it's physical, yes, I believe habits are much more mental than they are physical. And we have the tonal now for a year almost, because I'm coming up on my 52-week streak. So I know I used it all the time. I just didn't necessarily know what to do. I just randomly picked one of the programs to follow, hoping I was getting results. She would use it now and then. Now she's as addicted to it because she understands the value and she sees the results that the strength training brought. I think the mental that comes to it was clarity and vision that you can get from it so that you'll understand why you're doing what you're doing. And just because I keep saying the tonal, you don't have to have the tonal. I've got a few friends who have signed up for the program that didn't have the tonal, and they've had no problem going through your program.
Last questions I'll ask before we kind of wrap up is, Greg Plitt was one of my kind of like idols when I was younger. And he used to say champions like battle themselves to success. So the fact that you went through the program with your wife, I've had a few other couples that have done this. Famously, Robin, who's lost 101 pounds, and her husband, Lawrence, who went from no pack to six pack, lost like 40 pounds. So the fact that you went through it with your wife, I think, is so important. You want to just speak to that a little bit of like kind of fitness in the family, or kind of doing something with your partner, significant other, where it's like doing it together is so much more effective than doing it alone.
Look, the workouts, forget the workout side of it, right? Because we didn't work out necessarily together in the sense of we worked out and said, how was your workout? How was your workout? Held each other accountable to doing the workouts. But when she would go to work out, close the door, I could just hear the music playing throughout the house or whatever. It's the food, right? I mean, if and you know this, right? If you're not in a healthy family, and we go back to Jim Rohn, let's go way back to the people who say it, right? You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Well, your partner is gotta be one of those 5 people. And if they're unhealthy, odds are you become unhealthy. So who's got the stronger pull? One of the first things is Nita went through the house and cleaned out food. She does most of our grocery shopping for us. So she didn't bring home pretzels and chips and crack, all the things that we're not supposed to eat. She came home with the veggies. She came home with the stuff. And it's I want a snack right now, because I'm a snacky guy. That's my thing. I talk about it in the book I wrote. My mom always had candy dishes around the house. I was raised, just stealing a few jelly beans here and a few jelly beans there, and they add up. So Nita doesn't buy jelly beans. She bought some the other day and the bag vanished quickly, right? And she was like, I shouldn't have bought those. I was like, no, you shouldn't have. I don't even realize I ate any of them, right? But she was bringing in the healthy things. And when I was snacky, she would get something snacky for us that was in our macros. And we would sit down each night and plan tomorrow and say, what's going to be dinner? So that we were planning our meals in advance. Then we just had to follow the MyFitnessPal and say, this is what I told it I was going to eat. This is what I'm going to eat. It's having that support system, whether it's your spouse, whether you've got a child that's of an old enough age living at home that's doing it with you. It's just those easy choices to say, I have the willpower right now to say, I don't want a glass of wine tonight. So now all of a sudden when she says, hey, you want a glass of wine? To say, no, I'm not in the mood. And I didn't plan it in my macros, that she'll say, yeah, I don't need it either. Right. It's having that support system. And if you don't have it, person watching this, if you're single, okay. If you're saying, hey, my spouse is not on board for doing this, the best thing, Jackson, is that we also have the Facebook group. Right. So even if you don't have someone who's right there, which is obviously key, there is a group of people who's always there going through the journey with you.
Yeah, you said so many great things there for people listening at home. It's like, number one, environment matters, and it's the easiest way to sort of dictate your behavior. And sort of, I like to think of it as like systems, right? You're forcing these sort of behaviors or these habits because you just make it easy on yourself. You set your environment up and you set yourself up for victory. The 5 people that are around you, and knowing that the people I spend the most time with, they're going to impact me. So if I'm spending my time with other healthy people who want to get better and want to grow and learn and educate themselves and work hard, I'm going to be that person too. Accountability. You mentioned planning and preparation. I had an old baseball coach who used to say, the will to win is not nearly as important as the will to prepare to win. And I still think about that all the time when I'm executing on things, whether that's my business, workouts with Tonal, whether that's even interviews like this. It's the planning, the preparation that goes into it that makes the quality product. So many good things there that you pulled out. And the other thing you mentioned was the way you grew up and what was the environment, the way it was. And you don't have to be like your past. You don't have to be like necessarily your parents. My mom did the same thing. And my mom was very unhealthy. And I love my mother to death, but she struggled her entire life with all these health issues. And I didn't want to be like that. And instead of just saying, well, my parents were like that, I'm going to be that way. Or because my past was this way, I'm just going to stay that way. I said, no, I'm going to break the chain. Going forward, I'm going to be healthy. I'm going to be fit. I'm going to change up my belief system. And when I have kids, they're going down that path. Yep. So a lot of good stuff there. So one last question.
Sure.
For people listening at home, somebody who's out there who's like, Chad's amazing, but he's way more disciplined than me, or I don't have a wife to go through it with. Like, what would you say to that person who's just getting started on their journey, or maybe is thinking, I want to change, but I don't know how, and they kind of feel stuck?
The easiest, I'll answer part two to that even before I answer part one. So you want to make a change and you don't know how, you got to follow the footsteps of someone who succeeded before you. All right. Again, another one of those messages that I love to share when I get to speak and talk to people and used in my book and stuff. And I grew up north originally. I grew up north of the border in Toronto, actually, where we had snow, and you grew up where there was an area where there was snow. So for anybody who doesn't understand snow, you've seen it on TV, you can get it. For those of you who've lived near snow, when you had to walk from your house to the bus stop, or you had to walk, you literally stepped in the footprints of someone who had walked in front of you because they were already there in the snow. It made your life so much easier. And here's the thing, the person walking in front, Jackson, they're going slow because they have to trudge through the snow. The people that are following in their footsteps can go so much faster, almost like we're slipstreaming on a racetrack. Okay. Follow someone who's already laid out that path, because what you'll find is even if you follow someone like Jackson on this path and this health journey, you followed someone else's footprints till you caught up to them. And then you either went around them or changed direction or whatever you did. Find the footsteps of who's you want to follow. If you just want gigantic arms and you don't care if you want the dad bod, right? You got the big gut, you don't care, but you've got arm. Okay. This is not the program for you. Because Jackson's not going to settle for, let's leave you fat in the middle and make you big on the outside. No, if you want to get yourself trim, if you want to get yourself lean, if you want to get yourself to a point where you're healthy looking top to bottom, even if the muscles aren't as big as you want or aren't as small as you want yet, that's okay. You follow someone who knows how to take you on that journey. That's step one. Just find the right person. Okay. Step two is don't think about the end. Too many people talk about this whole big, I got to have this reason. I got to have this ultimate vision. Like, I want 6 packs. No, how about first, just that you get through the phase? How about just first that you can say, I can lose 5 pounds. And then you're going to look up and you're gonna be like, whoa, I lost 8, right? That's amazing. Okay. I can lose 5 more. And then all of a sudden you're going to look up but if you say I'm going to lose 20 pounds, it won't happen. You'll get to 8, 9, 10 pounds and you'll be like, oh, it's good enough. If you say I'm going to lose 3 or 4 or 5, and then all of a sudden 3 or 4 or 5, you'll look up and you'll go, hey, I lost 25 pounds. Okay. So it's take it in small chunks. Jackson breaks this program down into 4 phases. Don't worry about phase 3 and phase 4 that the other people in the Facebook group are already talking about. Focus on phase 1. I got to tell you, that's what drove me the craziest. I wanted you to give me phase 2, 3, and 4 already, just so I could see what was coming. And it was like 2 days before phase 2 starts. It's like, okay, fine, here, you can have it now, right? But it's keeping that narrow, short-term focus in front of you. That'll keep you and help you get the discipline you need. Then I'll take you another step from the one thing that they talked about. It was from Jerry Seinfeld. Get a calendar. Put your calendar up on your refrigerator, or you can get a 66-day challenge and make your own, but just get a calendar. And every day put an X through it when you complete the workout, and every day put an X through it. And by the time you get to day 6, you're just going to want to keep seeing those X's show up on that calendar that you're marking off, that you will get up and go work out because you don't want to break the streak. Small steps, all of a sudden you'll look up and it'll be a whole lifestyle change.
Wow. Wow. Chad, you are so well-spoken and articulate. That was incredible. That literally blew my mind. The story you told about the footsteps, like I've heard Tony Robbins and other people say success leaves clues, and Jim Rohn and stuff, but that story of like following in the footsteps, it's so relatable, and it's like, oh my God, I remember doing that all the time. So it's almost like nostalgic thinking about walking in people's footsteps, because I remember doing that all the time. especially if it's deep snow, right? You're just like,
Yes.
oh my God, thank goodness somebody else walked through this ahead of time.
Yes. And when they curve, you curve too, because you figured there was something they were going around, right? So, yeah.
Oh my God, this is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant stuff there. So that's incredible. And the chunking that we talk about all the time, I think always makes me think of this movie in this book called Touching the Void, where this climber fell, broke his leg, and literally broke down several miles climbing back on a mountain in South America to just 50-yard chunks. And just said, I'm just going to go 50 yards. And then we'd go 50 yards, like, well, I went this 50 yards. I might as well go another 50 yards, 50 yards, 50 yards. Chunking is so important. There's so many good lessons there. So thank you again so much for doing this. You just blew my mind with your stories, your analogies, the way you explain and articulate. Just incredible. And I know this has added a ton of value for people at home. So thank you again so much for that. But more importantly, thank you for all your hard work, the energy, the effort. You were such an incredible member of the community. You were so positive. You were so inspiring to so many other people. I can't thank you enough. Really appreciate you. And I'm so excited for the results you got.
Oh, I'd flip the mirror right back and thank you for what you did for us, for challenging me to take it, for having me bring Nita along on the journey, and then just laying out the path and just saying, here, do this. Because I tell you, I'm doing the flex every morning still, right? I'll get off that tonal for myself and I'll get ready to go start my day. And I'm still doing the peek at the mirror and going, hey, look at that. And look at that, those apps, and look at that, right? I'm going to be thanking you for a long time after we've stopped talking, if in that situation, because this is never going to change for me.
That's fantastic. Keep it up. Never stop celebrating yourself, because, hey, if you don't celebrate yourself, who's gonna? So keep celebrating yourself, keep doing the flexes, keep working hard, keep taking action, because as we know, that is the difference between dreaming and succeeding. So thanks again, Chad. And thank you just again for so much effort, so much hard work, and for articulating it so well here today.